Ow! Oh. Okay, so we have a carby issue, we have an ACR issue that could either be loose valves that haven't been adjusted properly, or the ACR has actually failed. So this is a Honda GX160 engine, and it's on an HCR80 whacker-packer, or whatever you want to call it, rammer, whatever. It is not a valve issue. So we know we have a carby issue. We know we have an ACR issue. I've just seen up here, this boot is cracked, so I'll deal with that. It's missing an air filter. I saw that when I picked it up, it's missing an air filter. The oil was actually really good. These jumping jack whacker packers take a lot of force and vibration, so it's not that surprising that it did break, but let's take it off, let's get the engine off, and we'll just see exactly what's going on. Tell you what, you have to be one tough man or lady to be working on one of these machines. They are heavy and robust. Everything is overbuilt to withstand the vibrations. Just got that rail out the way. It's just a couple of bolts each way, and then I can get the camera in much better. So I figured actually getting that rail out the way would be easy to get the engine off, wouldn't it? So that's good. Now it should just slide back, and it does. Yeah, little gasket there. And that's it. There's the engine. Nice. It's heavy. Oh. It's always cool working on a machine that you've never worked on before. I always get a little bit nervous though. I guess we're invested. As soon as we bought it, we're invested, aren't we? And what I'll just do now is I'll slip this one and this one back in. Tell you what, it's certainly lighter than it was with that Honda engine on it. Oh, but it's still heavy. I do wonder if the reason why they changed the oil was to hope that it would improve that ACR, or at least fix the issue, but it didn't. So we may very well have lost the components for the ACR from their previous oil change. I have to bring in the impact wrench rather than the driver. Let's go to top dead center on the compression stroke and we'll pull it out. We're already there. Look, it's just worn down. Can you see? Isn't that crazy? It literally is not broken. It's just worn down. Let's have a quick look at the exhaust tappet. Does that look a bit strange to you guys? The fact that it's worn in that kind of cross section across the face of the tappet rather than round. It's like it hasn't been spinning. Everything's present. It's just worn down. What do you guys reckon about me trying to bend that? Is that a really bad idea? Having a quick look at the intake, it's actually the same, so I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it. That might just be the pattern. That's the intake, and that's the exhaust. So there's minimal wear on the intake and exhaust cam lobes. I didn't check to see whether the bucket shim is present on the exhaust valve. If it is, then I might just try and tighten the valve slightly more and see if we can then get the ACR to at least improve. No, you can see the bucket shim is actually still there. So let's double check the valve clearance. It should be 0.2 for the exhaust and 0.15 for the intake. Let's start with 0.2 mil. It's got very, very light draw. I can go a little bit tighter. It says plus and minus 0.2, so I can go down to 18. Let's tighten that up and go to 18. That might be just enough to ease a bit of that compression. So let's go in by there. And I'll back it out just a bit for the threads. That's a tight 0. I wouldn't want to go any more than that. That's exhaust, intake. Ah, there you go. You've got a tiny, tiny bit of movement. It's improved it slightly. There it is, that little knock, but he's not really doing much. I'd like to go a bit tighter, but I'm not going to. I'm on a tight 0.18, but I don't want to go any more than that. Let's just double check the intake. It should be 0.15. It's a tiny, tiny touch loose, but it always says plus and minus 0.2. So that's good. I'll just pop this crankcase cover back off and we will clean out the oil sump because there was moisture in there, and then we can put it back on and don't have to worry about it. Yeah, there's a lot of water in there. You can see there's water in there. So we'll flush that out, clean it all up, torque the cover back up on, and I'm going to leave this camshaft. I am. It's acceptable where it is. And I think to spend hundreds of dollars on a new cam is just a waste of money. And to put a Chinese aftermarket in there, I think it's just not worth it. You're probably going to end up with more problems than you'll solve. Ah, that looks good. We'll do the same with the crankcase cover. Clean that gasket up as well. Can't stop thinking about that compression release being the way it is. It doesn't really make sense. They must have used a much softer steel, but you wouldn't think that they would do. I'm really not sure. I need 600 mils. I've put in 500 already. This is the last of the oil that I've got. The other oil is a 10W30 and this is a straight mineral. So I don't really want to mix them. So hopefully I'll be able to get a bit more out of that bottle. So we're about 15 mils off, and that will be fine. I'll just double check that it's pretty much up to the end of the threads of the fill cap, and I'll be happy. There we go. We're right to the very edge. Perfect. All right, let's just double check that ACR and see how it feels. It's a tight 18, so certainly wouldn't want to go any tighter. That feels actually all right. That's certainly adequate. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Now we need to get this carby off. It's just started to rain. Let's get this carby off, clean it up, and we'll see if we can get the machine running. I'll just slip this hose clamp off. That will mean that we can get this intake boot off. It's going to probably have to be replaced unless I can... No, it's too far gone. It has to be replaced. I take the boot off up here as well, just get it right out of the way, because then I can get to the linkages. Take that off, and then loosen the idle screw, and that should now come up and out. Lovely. I actually have an in-depth tutorial on how to disassemble and clean these carbs in great depth. I'll link that up in the top right hand corner now, and you can just save that for later or watch it after. But I cover all of the drillings, what they all do, where fuel goes, where air goes, and hopefully it'll give you a good idea as to what you're cleaning, why you're cleaning it, and how to do so as well. There's quite a lot of gunk and dirt in there, but I don't think I'll have an issue with some carby cleaner. We'll pull the main jet out, and then the emulsion tube will follow, hopefully, unless it's gummed up. That was really loose. Hey, there we go. Got it. Give that a clean, and then we'll pop the idle speed screw out, and that'll allow us to get to the pilot jet, which supplies fuel at idle, low speed side of the carburetor. There is a little O-ring on here. If they fail, you can get an air leak. That ain't going to seal nothing. I have to try and replace that. Otherwise I will get exactly what I just said. And then we have a little sediment bowl here. Let's just see what it looks like in there. That should be, yeah, that's fairly clean, because I'd actually put fresh fuel in here at one point, probably flushed it out. So quick side note, if you're looking for that O-ring, it's a 6mm OD by 4 ID by 1 cross section. And I actually have one of those in a kit. That's in millimeters, of course. So that's all good. And just a little side note, I've done videos on accelerator pumps before for the steel carbies. They're 5mm by 3 by 1. So just a little bit of information there for you if you're chasing either one of those O-rings. I hope it helps. Let's go clean that carby out. It's a beautiful day here today in Australia. The birds are singing, they're mowing the lawns. You'd think it's a spring day, but we're actually in the middle of winter. With the float bowl looking the way it does, and the float looking the way it does, and the carby is covered in varnisized fuel, I'm just going to get the ultrasonic cleaner out. We'll throw it in there for an hour and it will be beautifully shiny. I'm going to do that. Check out that main jet. That's pretty much fully blocked. I think there's a, no. Oh yeah, there's a little bit left, but it needs a good clean. The ultrasonic cleaner will do that. The emulsion tube's the same. It's really not good. So let's check it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and I'm going to go walk the dog. Oh, that's hot. Floats come out nice and clean. Hopefully everything else will. Well, that fluid certainly wasn't very, very dirty. I'd obviously done a partial clean beforehand. Anyway, it's come out really nice. There's no varnisized fuel in the bowl. The float's really nice and clean. If you remember, that was covered in varnisized fuel. The this kind of emulsion tube housing, I suppose it's called, was covered as well. So all in all, very, very pleased. Now we just have to get it all back together. That's that. And I think we're done. There should be oil in here, and I don't see any way to get this oil out. There is no drain plug or sight glass, which is normally around the leg here. The only thing I can see is this little bolt up the top. It's a breather. I think what I'll do is I'll take this rubber boot off, or at least try and move it and see if I can see anything inside. Maybe there's another drain inside there. Ah, there's some oil. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to slip it down. Let's get it down out of the way. There we go. Nice. You can't even get that off. So I can't see anything that I can access in here. We'll pop these 4 bolts off and see what else we can see inside there. That's not coming off. Let's flip it on its back. Come on. Give yourself up. Why aren't you coming off? Well, there's a few bolts and stuff in there. Just 3, 1, 2, 3. They must be holding something. Let's flip her on the back and see what we can figure out. This machine won't beat me. I will win. It just doesn't know it yet. Now, can this come undone now? What am I missing? Hey? Just show me what I'm missing, please. So just to save you guys the half an hour of watching me stare at this trying to figure it out, what I've actually done, I've pulled the foot off, and then I've just now pulled the kind of the end of the sleeve off, and that's left me with this bottom part of the piston. And I'm wondering if I can take this bolt out, which is already loose, which it probably shouldn't be, and then will that sleeve come off? We'll have to have a quick look. Let's take that out and go from there. I need almost something to compress this at the same time as pushing that pin out. Sorry, excuse the fingers. Foot on the other side, maybe. Right, that's off. Because this is all mushroomed out now, can't even get it off. I'm going to go get a file and I'll file that down. I'll put a rag around it so that I don't get any bits in it. All right, file time. There we go. That's out. Now, springs come out. 1, 2. Like that. Now, are you coming off? Hey! Woohoo! So what I'm going to do now is clean all these parts up. There is metal debris inside the foot, and we need to get all that dirt and crud out. We also have the springs to clean up. The sleeve needs to be cleaned up. All right, so reassembly time. Everything's been cleaned off. Nice. Everything's ready to go all back together. And so the first thing I need to do is to just tighten these up. What are they? Are they 14s? Yeah, I think they might be. That's in. That's a 14, or is it a 13? That's a 14. Next goes on the rubber boot. On there. And that should run. There we go. Our springs are next. We have an outer spring and an inner spring. Now we'll slip this back on, which again has all been nice and cleaned up. That goes in there, like that. We're going to put this in this way. Can we give it a bit of gentle persuasion? Yes, we can. Look at that. Just clean this up with a bit of brake cleaner, and then I'll go over it with a little bit of sealant. A little bit of Durco will be just fine. Nothing wrong there. Get that sealing surface there. Close that in. Hard to hold it. Get one on and then it won't be quite. There we go. Right, this goes on this way. Well, I'm going to get these on and then I'll bring you guys back. We'll fill her up with some oil and see if she leaks. Total of 800 mils needs to go in, so 300 more mils to go. And this is just 10W30 engine oil. I'll let that drain out and we'll come back to it in 5 minutes. This boot at the end is a little bit cracked. So what I did, I took this little lip off, and now I'm using a little bit of the lip down here. Not ideal, but it's going to be absolutely fine. There won't be a problem there. It's got more than enough contact surface to be working with. We still have to find a bolt to get that one that's missing. Well, the foot's officially back together, which is great. I've got so much mess to clear up. So I'm going to do that now. It's just started to rain, so I don't really want to be going out and testing it now. I'll clear up and then, oh, literally it's just coming in. Right, I'm going to clear up and then I'll bring you back probably tomorrow because it's getting quite late here now. I wish I had a bolt handy. That would have been better. Can I actually leave it there for a sec, or is that going to fall? Don't fall on me. Use fingers in the way. That one's on. So all I've done is just given that a quick spray paint, that front housing, the gearbox housing. It's just to stop the rust, for the simple fact that loads of paint started flaking when I pulled that case cover off. And it's a bit frustrating. So anyway, give it a quick coat and that will stop the rust. It's not a shelf queen, it's just a practical thing. And all we need to do is put the bar back on, and then we need to put the carby back on, and we're job done. Let's go get that sorted. I still have to get myself an air filter and also a new boot. This gasket's got a tear in it. I'm gonna have to go and make one quick. I've got a video on that too. Let me link you to the video of how to make gaskets. Before and after. Yay. That goes in like that. Let me just hook this little one into the little hole. Super simple. Done. I've got a little bit of air filter material. I'll see if I can just stuff it in. These are the fuel tank bolts. They're certainly going to get a soak in some evapor rust. Right, I don't know if you're going to be able to even see down there, especially with my hands in the way. There we go. Okay, unclip that. Let's just see if the float bowl actually holds. Oh, doesn't seem to be leaking. That's good. So choke on, fuel on. A little bit of throttle. Ah, it would help if I had it on, wouldn't it? Hey, sounds great. 1700. We're losing oil. Well, there's still a little bit more to do. It's still work in progress. However, it's nearly a success, I'd say. At least it works. It goes to full throttle, it starts, it idles, it does everything it should. It's just that boot that's leaked. I might even be able to lift it up and tighten it up. We will see. But anyway, hey, I talked about the Honda carburetors and rebuilding them. Here's that video I was telling you about. I hope you enjoy it. Until next time, I'll catch you soon.